Hello, Alex THFC. Just talking about the Rennes game and a preview on the Chelsea game as well. So we'll just talk about that as well. Um, just really my thoughts on it, going what happened and review on that. And really, it just boils down to just overall that this is going to be a very, very long season for Tottenham, really. Um, but I think there are some positives in terms of that. You can see that we are, we are grinding out results, and we are working very, very hard to get through and try and get those results. But in terms of attacking wise, we are just trying to find out us trying to figure out what is the best way of playing. And I think that just stems from the whole thing that, like I said before, that when we were playing last year, last season, um, and it was such a mess last season, it's really come right full circle into this season now. And even though we have done the business that we have done, I think it's highlighted that there's still a lot of. It's going to be a painful rebuild this season. So I mean, some of the points I've made throughout the game were it's just that we don't dominate in midfield. We get dominated in midfield, and this is even with Hoiberg and Skip in midfield. We do get dominated hugely. There is a creative problem in the team. That's quite obvious now. Um, but I think it's just a case of when I compare to what we were under Poch when we had Dembele and Venyama in midfield. When you compare it to what we've got now, you don't, whether you are very good in terms of endeavour, hard work, we press as much as we can do, we are still far and away, way away from where we need to be. So this is why I could say that this is going to take a lot of time, and we have to be patient. Unfortunately, whether you want like it or not, that's what we're going to have to be. I'm afraid. Um, I mean, if you look into some of the performances individually, you've got to look at say that people are really excited about the lineup today, and especially with the additions of Gil and Undumbele. And for me, it's highlighted why we don't see the whole bigger picture here. They're so far away from being who we want them to be, and this is why I'm saying that you can't rush development. I think the thing, and I need to say this about Ndombele. The problem with Ndombele is he had Jose Mourinho as his manager last season, and that sounds very, very harsh when you've got somebody that's won everything that he's won before. But you have somebody like a Pochettino, if he didn't get sat with him, Lo Celso, Sessegnon, you see a better, um, better Undumbele, a better Lo Celso, a better Sessegnon. The development of those three players, yes, they might have not been forward, but he would understood the process of how to get the best out of him and try to work on his fitness as well. Because even when I look back at some articles on him, he said he hated it, hated Poch's um, pre-season. He said it was so tough for him. He couldn't take it. He couldn't really he couldn't take it at all. And then Mourinho came in, and obviously Mourinho, you can say whatever you want. He didn't care about the fitness. He wasn't too bothered about the whole scientific fitness thing. He wasn't bothered about it. But now you've got somebody who wants. the players to concentrate on fitness and really be up to speed with fitness, because he wants some players to really work hard for the team and press with Nuno. And I think that's the thing with him now, is it's gonna take quite a while for us to get back to him and get him to where he was, well, to where we need him to be. And yes, there were some good touches today. He did the great back kill from what I saw, but I mean, I think that's overrated a lot of the time. Yes, it did create the goal, but it was a very, very messy goal. Let's be honest. Um, they made a mess of it, Ren. To be honest with you, but yeah, it was a very lucky, very fortunate goal, I would say. Even though it was very well worked initially. But yeah, I do feel that he needs Nuno is the right man for him. I mean, my thoughts on Nuno, to be honest, I'm past caring about the manager situation at the moment. Like I said, he's a head coach anyway. It's all about strategy as a general manager, and he's the one that's running the ship. At the end of the day, Nuno is position is dispensable. However, me saying that, I think he's the right man at the moment for us. Not saying that he'll be the right man in the next couple of years, but I think for what we need now, he's the right man for us. In terms of him being direct, him believe just wanting to get on with the job. I do feel that he does need to improve on his communication with the press, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, they do have influence on what happens. If he has a bad run, having hit them onside is very, very important. So it would be important to keep them onside. So I think that's going to be important for him, to keep them onside. However, I do like the fact that he's very direct with the players. He tells them what he wants from them, and I think that's very important. I think, and it's quite clear that a lot of players are happy with that, even if it's something they don't want to hear. It's good that they're getting that as well. I like the fact that he just wants to coach, and try and improve the players. That's very encouraging for me, and shows that that's going to move us forward. Whether it's going to be 10th this season, which is what I predicted, or whether we're going to be 7th this season, or even lower, it shows that there'll be hopefully somewhere along the lines, the squad will be settled into a system, or into a couple of systems, or just way of playing, and that's what Nuno's doing. You can see what he's done with the defence already, with certain players already. Um, he's been unlucky with injuries. He has, and we can't look past that. He has been very, very unlucky with injuries. So I just need to drink some water. But overall, he's done too badly. I think the Crystal Palace game, yes, attacking wise, we weren't very good. That's quite clear. But defensively, you can see the team work really hard for each other, even though it was a very, very difficult game against Crystal Palace. Um, I think it wasn't helped with what happened during the international break as well. So I think that did influence certain things as well, um, and that didn't help the whole thing. But not making excuses, it wasn't a great performance in terms of attacking wise, not very good at all. But defensively, yes, I would say they were very, very good up to a point of after before the until the permanent penalty. But then I'm going on about the Crystal Palace game, so I want to keep on to the Rennes game. But in terms of us going forward, it just shows that there's so much work to do, and it just doesn't take 5 minutes to do that, unfortunately. Um, and you can talk about players that you think are not good enough, but they are part of the squad, and they work hard for the team. And you can't expect us to get any other world class player in when you're not in the Champions League, you're not in Europa League. So it's players want to play in the Champions League, and that's it. So it's about us trying to improve the team, improve the players that are in that team, to try and get a system in place to get the team gelling as a squad, getting a system in place that people are happy with, and also working well into connecting well with each other as well. And that is it's clear because at the moment this sort of way forward isn't going to get us any further for us. It's going to get us a few results and it will keep us away from the relegation zone. It will maybe just end up us being mid-table this season, 10th, like I predicted. But yeah, I think that's it really. Um, Looking on certain other players as well, Emerson, he looked very impressive today. I've got to say, on the wing, he tries to make things happen as well. It did look better with Højbjerg when he came on. I still think he's you got a I don't think he's that great. Yes, he looks a good defensive midfielder, but to be honest with you, I think that's all he is for me. I don't. He does the ugly stuff, I say, but like I said, I if you compare him to a Dembele, Vinyama, they would dominate. They would dominate midfield. Dominate, and we'll take the initiative because of their domination in that midfield. Even Sissoko and Winks at their prime. I think they had Ericsson though as well in that team as well. That helped as well. They would dominate as well. So I just think it's premature saying what that people are saying about how Højbjerg's, irreplaceable. For me, he is irreplaceable. He's not irreplaceable at all, as far as I'm concerned. Um, I think there's a lot of focus on Kane today. Well, let's be honest here. Kane is not. We can't always focus on Kane. I think the problem is that I think we didn't get another striker in, and now we've got to rely on Scarlett as well, who again he did well. He was trying to get there with a lot of endeavour, but he didn't really get the service today. He really didn't, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I think overall we ground out the result today. But it just shows that it's a lot of work to do, and I think it will be a very difficult. I mean, I was at the Watford game at home, and that was a very very boring game. Even though we did well to get through the game and win the game overall, um, but again, it just shows that there's a lot of work to do, and that's not going to be because players like Gill will need to settle in and get used to the Premier League because he was getting knocked off the ball a lot of the time today. A lot of the time a lot of the time got knocked off the ball, and it just shows that he's not. He's gonna have trouble with the Premier League getting knocked off the ball. And I think that's why he wasn't playing a lot of the time as well. Um, because a lot of Tottenham fans were saying that he needs to play. Well, it's prove it why he's not playing a lot of the time because it needs time to get used to the Premier League. It's worrying about the injuries, but that's another opportunity for other young players to come, or other players to take their opportunities. So yeah, it's a lot of work in progress. I say, Galini had a bit of a shaky one today. I would say yeah, he had some good times and bad times. I think the defense was all right. Doherty, I've always said that he's not doing it for me, unfortunately. But he did, you know, have an influence on the second goal, even though it was a lucky one again. I would say. Um, but yeah, overall it was good that we got out something out of the game. It was a very difficult team to play against. I'd say the crowd, the supporters. It was a very difficult game, so it's good that we got through it, and that's a positive, I would say. But it just highlights why I've made the predictions that I've made already. Moving on to the Chelsea game. Um, Now, for me, this is an absolutely really difficult game for me. Um, Chelsea are definitely title contenders. I think it sums up Chelsea, the way Chelsea are playing at the moment, when they were down to 10 men against Liverpool and they could have won that game. Literally could have won that game. So for me, I think I don't think there's really that much really to say, but I think the best result that Tottenham can get out of this game is a draw. A draw. That's the only thing I can say at the moment. I don't think we've got any chance of winning the game. Hopefully, we don't get embarrassed if we lose. Um, but yeah, I think that's the best thing for this game today. Unfortunately, we're not. We're not. We're not. I think it's going to be a very hard game in terms of the midfield. I think they're going to dominate midfield because we've been dominated a lot of the time anyway. I think we did well against Man City, but again, that was only one game. It was the first game of the season. But all since for the last how many games we've been dominated. So there's no, it's not going to change against Chelsea, isn't it? So, but the best outcome I think is a 1-1 draw for me. Um, Hopefully Chelsea play a little bit off on Sunday as well, but I don't think they will. It's a London derby, so. But again, it's not a negative if we do lose. We have to still move on. We still got to hopefully don't keep good count of ourselves as well. But yeah, in terms of this game, this is just a very big challenge for us, and I think we're going to have to really just work really really hard. That's the only way forwards really, and hopefully try and get catch some scraps on some of the mistakes that Chelsea make. That's the only way I think we're going to get something out of this game. I think. Um, so yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. I don't really think there's too much really to say. You'll see players like Meli Ali play. I think they'll obviously play Hoiberg. Hopefully maybe Morero might play, but I do feel that Romero coming back so soon after his isolation and Sanchez after his isolation, I don't know if they're going to be ready for the game. Obviously, with the injuries, that's going to affect us a lot as well. But again, it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how we approach the game. I think it will be playing on the break a lot of the time, but I don't think Chelsea are going to be silly though. I don't think they. I think they're very smart, and they'll be very wise to what we will try and do to them. So, like I said, I think a draw will be a very good result for Tottenham if we do get that. But I'm not hopeful on this one, unfortunately. I think it's just really a base of how much we don't embarrass ourselves, and hopefully we don't embarrass ourselves because it's at home, and that's it. So hopefully we just got to support the team, and that's all we can do. So yeah, that's my short review on the Rennes game, and also a little bit of a preview on the Chelsea game as well. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, I hope you all have a great evening, and see you next time.